The way I perceive it is that there are two main schools of thought in acupuncture, and how you are trained. There's TCM, which means traditional Chinese medicine, and there's 5-element. I went to a college that integrated both styles so that I could choose whichever one I thought was appropriate for each patient. TCM is the most commonly used in this country, and it's also, I think, the only one used in China now since the Cultural Revolution. And that's more akin to a Western approach. You diagnose physical symptoms, so I will ask you about your bowels and your eating habits and your sleep and questions like that, pain. 5-element acupuncture is based on the belief of as within, so without, or as without, so within. So we mirror our environment. There are 5 elements in nature, so there are 5 elements in us. We all have all of the 5 elements, which are fire, wood, earth, water and metal. We have them all in us, but one will predominantly express who we are and is more likely to go out of balance. Water's fear or lack of fear, so everything works on a scale with exaggerated and collapsed, and we want to be in the middle. Seeking reassurance, ability to assess risks, anxiety, panic, fear or lack of fear. Wood is anger or lack of anger, creative energy, having vision, forging ahead, organising, structuring, making things happen, or the complete inability to do any of that. Fire is joy or lack of joy. So people who can either be raging, partying all the time, talking all the time, in your face, or the other, completely collapsed, just flat lack of joy, can't raise a laugh. What you want is in the middle, very warm, very open, very loving, very joyful, the person that turns up at the party and everyone wants to be around them. If somebody is an earth element and that goes out of balance, they can either be very obsessed about their own needs all the time, worried about, is the bed going to be comfortable? Where are they going to sleep? Will they have enough food? And ask for sympathy all the time. They can say, oh, poor me, give me sympathy, give me sympathy, give me sympathy, give me sympathy. Or they do the opposite. They smother or over-nurture other people. Metal is about grief and letting go and loss. It's also about self-esteem and respect. So a metal person might seem quite aloof and distant and reserved. They might be impeccably dressed because it's important to them what impression they give, that they are respected, that they're taken seriously, that people consider them, respectful, weighty people and acknowledge that. So a metal element might tell me about what they've achieved. They might go on quite a lot about, I've done this, or I know this famous person, or my brother is a well-respected professor, or it's important to them what reflects on them. As far as I'm aware, about 10 years ago there was a big push to make acupuncture more readily available on the NHS, and for a couple of years it was doing really well. More and more areas were offering it, and then I think it was when they changed to giving all the budgets to each local PCT rather than paying for it from above, that then more and more local authorities said, well, we only have such a small budget, we have to provide these options, so something has to go, and very often it was acupuncture. I think it's a real shame. I think it should be accessible to everyone. And what's happening in response to that now is that there are more and more low-cost clinics are popping up. Again, this is a relatively recent thing. I think last 5 years they've started. They're called multi-bed clinics, so they're much more like what you would find in China. In China, you don't go and have a one-on-one and sit for an hour with your acupuncturist and talk and have that whole experience and then pay for it. You go along to a clinic where there will be 4, 5, 6, 10 other people, 10 beds, and the doctor will ask you a few questions, and you will take your couch and he will put the needles in. He'll go on to the next person, the couch next to you, do the same, go on to the next person. So basically you're in the same room, 10 other people, you have your needles put in, you have your needles taken out, and that's it. It's a multi-bed clinic. And I think that's a really good idea because acupuncture should be readily available to anyone, regardless of what they can afford. What is qi? Not sure I can answer that question. The closest translation we have would be vital energy, life force. But having said that, everything has qi. Rocks have qi. Things that we don't think of as being alive, they have qi. When you die, your qi stops. It stops flowing. The Chinese believe that qi, or this vital energy, flows through our bodies in the same way, or similar way to how blood flows through the blood vessels. Instead of physical vessels that we can cut someone open and see their arteries and see their veins, we have meridians. And these are the lines that cross the whole body. But if you cut someone open, you can't find them. They're not there. But they are the same in everybody, so you can locate them. The qi runs up and down through these channels. These channels originate in each of the organs, the major organs. So the channels are named after the organs that they originate from. All of these organs are the origins of the meridians. The meridians leave the organs and then they flow up towards the surface of the body. And that's where we put the needles. By putting the needles through the skin into the point, we access the qi where it is swirling around. Each point will have a specific function. It will do something. So we choose which points we're going to use according to what we want to achieve. If you miss the point, if I was to locate it wrongly and put a needle in, I wouldn't feel anything, you wouldn't feel anything. If I get the needle in the right place, we both feel something. It's not pain, it's a sensation. It can be quite a strong sensation, and depending on how you respond to sensations, some people experience it as pain, other people experience it as something quite pleasurable. It can be an ache or a tingle or a pulling or an electric-y feeling. It can be very strong, it can be quite mild. So the qi, as I said, it is the life force, the energy, vital energy. And if it is depleted or blocked or struggling in some way, the person will be lacking in energy. They won't feel their own vital life force. And again, there are various diagnoses for that, and I would work out from questioning people, from observing my patient, work out what they need doing and do that, and hope that, obviously they respond to that. The Western approach to health is very different. I don't know if this is true, but this is what I've been told. In China, you go and you see your acupuncturist, and you pay to see him even though you are well. You just go as a regular, like people go to the spa or have a facial, you go. If you get ill, you then stop paying him until you are better. So it's in his best interest to get you better. And then you're better, and then you continue going and you pay. So people who are aware of themselves and aware of their bodies and aware of the alternatives, aware of the options, they're quite quick to act. But generally speaking, in this country, we don't look after ourselves. We eat badly. We don't understand nutrition. We don't do a lot of exercise. We're not in tune with things that might be going wrong, symptoms that we just ignore for ages because they're not problems, really. Until it's become a serious problem, then we go to the doctors and we want someone else to fix us. And the doctor will give us some strong medication. And very often that will make the problem go away, make it better. But it doesn't. It's gone somewhere else, and it'll come out 6 months later or 6 weeks later as a different problem, which will then give us some more drugs, which will be strong drugs, and they'll work very quickly, and the problem will be cured. And then we'll end up with a different problem. But because the strong drugs give an immediate response. Antibiotics, very quick, within a day or two you're feeling better. Painkillers, instant, within 20 minutes to an hour you're feeling better. Inhalers, whatever it is, it's an instant fix, although it may not cure the underlying problem. So when people come to an acupuncturist, they expect the same thing. They think, I'm going to stick some needles in and they're going to go away and the problem be fixed. I've been surprised many times over the years by people who come and they think they only need one treatment. For a condition that they've had for months and months and months, they think one treatment will fix it. And it doesn't work like that, because if it takes that many months for the problem to develop, it's going to take that many months for the problem to be sorted, at least. So it's just our approach to healthcare and medicine, and we want the immediacy. So that's why a lot of people give up, plus the fact that it costs a lot of money. If you're coming every week for 12 weeks, that's quite a big commitment, and a lot of people don't want to commit to something, especially if the results are very slow and small and gradual. But that's how working with qi works. I suppose an analogy is New Year's resolution, I'm going to lose 2 stone, I'm going to get fit. If you go to the gym for a week or 2 weeks, you don't see any results, really. So you give up and you go back to your pizzas in front of the TV. But if you're really committed, you stick with it and you do it. And 6 months later, you've lost your 2 stone and you have the muscles you never had, but you have to stick with it. And a lot of people don't stick with things. So you can't go to the gym for a week and expect results. You can't have one acupuncture session and expect results. Although having said that, you can very often get results after one treatment, but that's a whole other thing. Acupuncture's been around for 2,000-3,000 years, which means there are billions of people that have had acupuncture. If it was a complete sham, or if it didn't produce results, how would it survive that long amongst such a huge population? That's what I find quite strange, when people in the West just dismiss it and just say, oh, it's all charlatans, or it's all made up, or it's all placebo, or it's really, you can have such a strong placebo that fools billions of people over thousands of years? I don't think it would have survived if that was the case. You have to have results for things to survive. There are lots of Western medicines, if we go back for 200 years that Western medicine has been around, that have fallen by the wayside. We no longer try to diagnose someone's whether they're phlegmatic or whatever the medieval ways of diagnosing were. We don't do that anymore. We don't use leeches. We don't use a lot of the old techniques. So I think, yes, if there was nothing in it, how would it possibly have survived for this long?